Hey, and welcome to the RANDY5000 News Desk. It's Saturday, April 24th, and you know what that means. It's Island Time as we interview Franklin on today's episode of RANDY5000's Week in Twitter. For many of us, we remember exactly where we were when an important event in our lives took place. Do you remember where you were exactly 1 year ago today? For me, I hadn't even started making videos and I wasn't even on Twitter yet. But for Sleeves, he was tweeting the tweet. It's so NSFW I can't show you, but we want to wish Sleeves a happy anniversary. This week, everybody was pulling out those jazz cigarettes and getting zooted as we celebrated 420. Yours truly turned into Randy420 and got totally zooted. Mr. 2K celebrated 420. Mr. Cocopelli himself, Bugmain, celebrated 420. And Megan Spell celebrated 420 as she got stuck in a Now That's What I Call image all day long. Teasing people is usually not very nice, but this week our good friend Aaron Crow, writer of It Eats What Feeds It, teased us all when he said that they'll be coming out with a new comic soon. We can't wait to see it, Aaron! One of our good friends decided to come back to Twitter this week after a 2-week absence. It's our old pal Theo. And am I hearing that correctly? We have Theo live! Theo! Glad to have you back! How are you doing?
Hello, Randy5000. As always, it's an honor to be on your show, and hello to everyone. I missed a lot of you.
So Theo, why'd you take 2 weeks off of Twitter?
And that was a contentious decision. So a lot of my fans are telling me, don't do it. Don't give in to terrorism. But I don't agree that it was terrorism. We're never going to have a resolution to whether or not the point of contention of whether or not there were actually two King Kongs in the motion picture King Kong versus Godzilla, which I had predicted. It's a really open-ended issue.
But what about us that are seeking closure?
If you're seeking closure on that point, you're not going to find it. So what I hope to do is just kind of move forward and just think of it as a continuum with a continuous conversation between me and my critics. And I value my critics, as always.
Do you feel like after taking 2 weeks off from Twitter, you're coming back to a strange new world?
But a lot has changed in that time. The time I've been gone. There's a lot of subjects in discourse. I have no idea what anyone's talking about. Even the people engaging in the discourse. A number of the people I followed, for more than a year before I took that 2-week break, I don't know who they are. So it's a real unrecognizable landscape, and I'm trying to get my bearings.
Well, Theo, thank you so much for being here. Any closing words before you leave?
We are all fragile vessels, and we need each other. And I'm hoping to be a force of positivity for everyone.
And now it's time for 5 Questions With. Today's guest has a big famous podcast called Uncle to Uncle. You may have just recently seen him last week as the host of the red carpet on the Bug TV Awards. Please welcome our special guest, Franklin.
Randy5000, thank you for having me on. The pleasure is all mine. I am honored. I've been in the top 5 before. Not as frequent as I would like, but maybe your circuits aren't perfect. Po Buddy's perfect. Even those robot wiring and whatnot you got going on there, Randy. You're a class act.
Oh wow, thank you so much, Franklin. Now, Franklin, you and your best friend Bugmain like to go to Hooters on occasion. According to a 2012 New York Post article, a former Hooters waitress was quoted as saying, "You have to be a robot at Hooters." What are your thoughts on robots even working at Hooters?
My thoughts on robots working at Hooters, an establishment me and Bugman go to every single year. We go there, it's our tradition, it's where we go. And my thoughts on robots working at Hooters, well, are you talking like some sort of pleasure bot? Because that might pique my interest. I'm yanking your chain. I couldn't even. I'm yanking your chain, Randy. I couldn't help myself. You know me. I'm a joker, baby.
Now, Franklin, you have plenty of human friends. What do you think about a robot friend?
Well, there's a couple robots I love to be friends with. BB-8, not BB-9E, because BB-9E, that's a certified snitch. He was snitching, and as my friend Harpo Garza likes to say, they need to stop snitching. Okay, so BB-8, you know what? Not that Steve Urkel robot, because that one needs to get canceled. That guy was aggressive. No thank you. So, I don't know, BB-8, Johnny 5, Alpha 5, man, I don't know, most robots are pretty cool. I got no qualms with any robot except BB-9E and a couple of other bad apples, you know. I don't like Dio. I don't like Dio. It's just a wheel.
Now, Franklin, you seem like a tech-savvy guy. Do you own any robots?
I do own some robots, actually. Or, one has to ask, at some point, do these robots that we own, these gizmos and gadgets, do we own them, or do they own us?
Well, Franklin, I'm the one conducting the interview here, so I will not be answering that question. Now, Franklin, you host the big famous podcast, Uncle to Uncle, from a bed on the Rock of Love tour bus. 1 decade ago, a Yahoo user asked, why does Bret Michaels walk like a robot? Do you believe Bret Michaels is a robot?
He was a little bit at times on Rock of Love. I don't know. Is Bret Michaels, you know what? That would explain his insatiable thirst on all 3 seasons of Rock of Love. That appetite he couldn't meet anybody that could satisfy his needs. I think you're onto something, Randy. I think Bret Michaels might be a robot.
Now, Franklin, you're on record as being a Miami Heat fan. You think Jimmy Butler's doing a good robot dance here?
Jimmy Buckets, baby, Jimmy Buckets. I think he is doing a pretty decent robot dance there. I think he may have learned that from me, Randy. I don't know. I think those are some moves there by Jimmy Buckets. As we know, this NBA season does not count. There's a big asterisk, so, doesn't count. But who's to say what would have happened if Goran Dragic and Bam Adebayo were not injured? That's the bigger question.
And again, I'll be asking the questions here. Well, Franklin, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Randy, again, thank you so much. You bring joy to Twitter. You give us the scoop. Even if sometimes we miss a tweet, and you give us a scoop, or there's a birthday that somehow we missed. You know how bad I feel when I don't remember a birthday, and there's RANDY5000. Giving us that reminder. In fact, I might even spite you for it. Come to think of it, I don't know who are you to have the insider information on the birthdays that I'm missing out on? What's going on here? Well, what do you know that I don't, Randy? No, I'm just Josh. I love yanking that chain, Randall. You know how I operate. That's how I operate. That's what's with my hard drive, huh? See, that's humor. It's tasteful, and nobody's offended.
Well, hey, while you're here, anything you'd like to promote?
I'd like to promote Uncle to Uncle, of course. Hello, that's me and Uncle Howard. We're joshing around. We're wrestling. It's a fun show. What's not to like here? And follow Mad and Pissed Off, that Undertaker. He's a hoot. And Randy, thank you again so much. Truly an honor being on here.
And now it's time for the most anticipated part of the show. RANDY5000's Top 5 Tweeters. At number 5, he teased us, but in a very nice way. It's Aaron Crow. At number 4, he returned to Twitter after a 2-week absence. It's Theo. At number 3, she was celebrating 420 by being stuck in a now that's what I call image all day long. It's Megaspell. At number 2, it's the 1-year anniversary of the tweet. It's Sleeves. At number 1, he has a big famous podcast. He was a host on the red carpet of the Bug TV Awards. He was the special guest of today's show. It's Franklin. Alright, folks, that's it for this episode of Randy5000's Weekend Twitter. I hope you have a great weekend. And don't forget, I love you.
It's Randy 5000.